The meeting hall of the Galactic Assembly was massive. It could hold representatives from 47 different worlds, and today every seat was filled. Commander Taemin Park stood in the human section, his uniform crisp and clean. He had been to many of these meetings before, but something felt different today. The air was tense. The other species were whispering to each other, their strange voices filling the hall with nervous sounds. Ambassador Tholvar entered the chamber. He was from the Vrin Collective, a group of 12 warrior species that had ruled large parts of the galaxy for thousands of years. Tholvar was tall, covered in dark scales, with 4 arms and eyes that glowed red. When he walked, the floor shook slightly. Every species in the hall went quiet. "I bring a challenge," Tholvar announced. His voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. "The humans have been among us for only 30 years. Yet they speak in our councils. They vote on our laws. They take resources from worlds they did not earn." Taemin felt his jaw tighten. Beside him, Ambassador Jiwon Lee remained calm. She was experienced in these situations. She had warned him that something like this might happen. Humans were new to galactic politics, and not everyone was happy about their quick rise. "We prospered through strength," Tholvar continued, "through blood and battle. But these humans, these soft creatures, they use words and tricks. They are weak. And I will prove it." The hall erupted in noise. Some species cheered. Others looked uncomfortable. The assembly leader, an ancient being from a peaceful world, raised several of its limbs for silence. "What do you propose, Ambassador Tholvar?" the leader asked. "The trial of apex dominance," Tholvar said. The hall went completely silent. Even Taemin knew what this meant. It was an ancient challenge rarely used from the old days of the assembly. "Each of the 12 Vrin worlds will send our most dangerous predator. The humans will send one champion. Their champion must face all 12, one after another. If their champion survives, we accept their place among us. If not, they lose their vote and their treaties for 100 years. Taemin felt his blood run cold. 100 years. Humanity would be set back centuries. They would lose everything they had worked for. "This is madness," Jiwon said, standing up. Her voice was steady but loud. "We are not a warrior species. This challenge is designed for us to fail." "Then refuse," Tholvar said with a smile that showed too many teeth. "Show the galaxy that humans are cowards as well as weak." The assembly leader looked troubled. It consulted with the other senior members for several minutes. Finally it spoke. "The challenge is legal under our oldest laws. Humanity, you have 3 days to respond. Choose wisely." The meeting ended. Taemin and Jiwon rushed back to the human embassy station. They immediately contacted Earth. Within hours, the command center was full of Earth's best people. Military generals appeared on screens. Scientists joined by video link. Politicians argued over encrypted channels. Dr. Hana Kwan was the first to speak calmly. She was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life forms. She had spent years researching the predators of other worlds. "I've seen files on some of the Vrin predators," she said quietly. "They are not just dangerous. They are built to kill. Some have acid that can melt metal. Others have armor stronger than our best ships. One can freeze its prey with its mind. Then we send our best soldier," General Byung-woo said from Earth. "We enhance them. Cybernetics, weapons, everything we have." "The rules forbid that," Lieutenant Sung-ho Choi said. He was a military strategist, and he had been reading the ancient laws all night. "The champion must be biological. No weapons, no enhancements, no armor. Just natural ability." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. No human could survive against creatures that evolved to be perfect killers. "We could refuse," someone suggested. "No," Jiwon said firmly. "If we refuse, we lose everything anyway. Other species will see us as weak. Our treaties will crumble. We must accept the challenge." "Then we need to think differently," Dr. Hana said. She pulled up images on the main screen. They showed various predators from Earth: lions, bears, crocodiles. "We don't have to send a human. We need to send Earth's answer to their predators." The debate went on for hours. Some wanted to send a polar bear, one of Earth's largest land predators. Others suggested a saltwater crocodile with its incredible bite force. A few even proposed finding the largest great white shark and somehow using it. Dr. Hana shook her head at all of them. "You're thinking about this wrong," she said. "The Vrin predators are specialized. They evolved on worlds with specific conditions. But Earth is different. Earth is harder. Earth is more dangerous than any of their worlds. We need to send something that represents what Earth creates. She pulled up a new image. A massive silverback gorilla sitting peacefully among trees. This is Daehan, she said. He lives in a conservation program in Korea. He weighs 220 kilograms of pure muscle. He can lift over 800 kilograms. He can run at 40 kilometers per hour. His bite force exceeds a lion's. His arms are strong enough to bend metal bars. But gorillas are peaceful, Lieutenant Sung-ho said, confused. They eat plants. They don't hunt. Exactly, Dr. Hana said. That's the point. Daehan is not Earth's apex predator. He is a gentle creature who only fights when he must protect his family. But Earth made him strong enough to survive anything. That's what Earth does. It creates life so resilient that even our peaceful animals are stronger than most species' warriors. Taemin stared at the image. Something about it felt right. You're saying we send a message? We're not sending our best weapon. We're sending proof of what our world creates naturally. Yes, Dr. Hana said. And if Daehan can survive, it will terrify them. Because they'll realize he's not special. He's normal for Earth, and humans are Earth's persistence predators. We're even more adapted for survival than he is. The debate continued, but slowly everyone began to agree. There was something powerful about the idea. It was honest. It was bold, and it might be the only chance they had. 3 days later, Taemin stood before the Galactic Assembly again. The hall was packed. News crews from hundreds of worlds pointed cameras at him. The galaxy was watching. We accept the challenge, Taemin announced. We will send our champion. What will you send? Thalvar asked, leaning forward. Your strongest soldier? A human modified with your technology? No, Taemin said. We will send Daehan, a silverback gorilla from Earth. The hall erupted in noise. Some species laughed. Others looked confused. Thalvar's face twisted in anger. You mock us? You send an animal? A plant eater? We send what Earth created, Taemin said calmly. If you want to test humanity's worth, then face what our world produces. Face Earth itself. The assembly leader looked troubled but nodded. The challenge is accepted. The arena will be prepared. May wisdom guide you all. As they left the hall, Jiwon looked at Taemin. Do you really think he can survive? Taemin looked at the datapad showing Daehan's profile. The gorilla was playing with a young member of his troop in the video, gentle and calm. I don't know, he admitted. But Dr. Hana is right. If he survives even one battle, the galaxy will never look at Earth the same way again. Across the galaxy, billions of beings prepared to watch what they thought would be a quick and brutal demonstration of humanity's weakness. None of them knew they were about to learn a terrible truth. Earth did not produce apex predators. Earth was the apex predator, and everything born on its surface carried that legacy in their bones. The transport ship carrying Daehan arrived at the arena station 3 days before the first battle. Dr. Hana Kwon stayed with him the entire journey. She spoke to him softly in Korean, the language he had heard his whole life from his handlers. Daehan was confused and frightened. He had been tranquilized for the trip, and now he was waking up in a strange place with strange smells. The arena station orbited a dead moon far from any inhabited world. The arena itself was a massive dome, 1 kilometer wide, with terrain that could be changed for each battle. Right now it looked like a mix of everything: forests, rocks, water, and open grassland. The designers wanted to give every predator a fair chance. Daehan was released into a holding area connected to the arena. It had high walls made of transparent material so observers could watch him. Dr. Hana stood outside, her hand pressed against the barrier. I'm sorry, she whispered. Daehan looked at her and made a low sound. He knew her. She had visited his conservation home many times, but he didn't understand why he was here. Lieutenant Sung-ho studied the monitoring equipment. His heart rate is elevated, he's stressed. Of course he is, Dr. Hana said. He's been taken from everything he knows. He's in a metal box floating in space, and soon we're going to make him fight for his life. Her voice was tight with emotion. Commander Taemin entered the observation room. The first battle is scheduled for tomorrow. The Vrin have sent their champion from Kashfir Prime. It's called a spike wolf. A hologram appeared showing the creature. It was roughly the size of Daehan but built completely differently. 4 legs supported a body covered in metallic quills. Its jaw was full of teeth designed for crushing bone. The quills could be fired like projectiles, piercing armor from 50 meters away. It evolved on a frozen mountain world, Dr. Hana read from the data file. It hunts in packs normally, but this one has been trained to fight alone. It has never lost a battle. Neither has Dahan, Taemin said quietly, because he's never fought one. The night passed slowly. Dahan explored his holding area. He found the food dispenser and ate some of the fruits and vegetables Dr. Hana had programmed for him. He found water. He even found some materials to make a simple nest for sleeping. Despite his fear, his instincts were working. He was adapting. Across the galaxy, billions tuned in to watch. The Galactic Broadcasting Network had set up cameras everywhere. Betting pools opened on hundreds of worlds. The odds were 10,000 to 1 against Dahan surviving even the first battle. On Earth, entire cities stopped working. Everyone gathered to watch. In Korea, Dahan's home country, people filled the streets. Many held signs with his picture. Some prayed. Others simply watched in silence. The morning of the first battle arrived. The arena doors opened with a loud grinding sound. Dahan stood at his entrance, confused. Dr. Hana's voice came through speakers in Korean. "I'm here, Dahan, I'm watching. Be strong." She had fought to be allowed to speak to him before each battle. It was the least she could do. Dahan walked into the arena slowly. His eyes moved everywhere, taking in the strange environment. He could smell something wrong in the air. Something dangerous. At the far end, another door opened. The spike wolf entered. It saw Dahan immediately and started moving forward. Its walk was smooth and confident. This creature knew it was a killer. The crowd in the observation stations went quiet. Ambassador Tholvar sat in the front row, his red eyes gleaming. "This will be quick," he said to his companions. "The animal will not even understand what kills it." The spike wolf charged. It moved fast, faster than something its size should be able to move. Its quills began to rise, preparing to fire. At 30 meters distance, it released them. 20 metallic projectiles shot toward Dahan like bullets. Dahan reacted on instinct. He dropped and moved sideways, putting a large rock formation between himself and the attack. The quills hit stone with loud cracking sounds. Some punched through, but most were stopped. "He's thinking," Lieutenant Sung-ho said, amazed. He assessed the threat and used cover. The spike wolf snarled and charged around the rocks. It wanted to close the distance for a bite attack, but as it rounded the corner, Dahan was ready. What happened next shocked everyone watching. Dahan didn't run. He didn't try to hide. Instead, he exploded forward with shocking speed. His hand, massive and powerful, grabbed the spike wolf's front leg in mid-stride. The creature tried to bite him, but Dahan pivoted his entire body, using his weight and strength together. The spike wolf slammed into the ground with incredible force. The impact was so hard that cameras shook. Before the creature could recover, Dahan was on top of it. His fists came down like hammers. Once, twice, 3 times. Each blow landed on the spike wolf's spine with crushing power. The creature tried to fire more quills, but at this range, they couldn't angle properly. It tried to bite, but Dahan kept his body positioned away from the jaws. His intelligence was clear. He knew where the danger was and avoided it. The fight lasted 47 seconds. When it was over, the spike wolf lay still. Dahan backed away slowly, breathing hard. He looked confused by what he had just done. He made distressed sounds and looked around for Dr. Hana. "Good, Dahan," her voice came through the speakers. "You're safe now, come back." The galaxy sat in stunned silence. In the observation stations, representatives from dozens of worlds stared at their screens. This wasn't supposed to happen. The spike wolf was a legendary predator. It had killed hundreds of large prey animals in its life, but it had never faced something from Earth. Ambassador Tholvar stood up, his face twisted in anger. "A lucky strike. Nothing more. The next predator will not be so easily defeated." But others were not so sure. Some species began accessing data about Earth. What they found worried them. Earth was classified as a Class 9 death world in the old exploration logs. High gravity, extreme weather, aggressive microbial life, an evolutionary pressure cooker that killed 99% of all species that had ever lived there. 2 days later, the second battle was scheduled. This time the Vryn sent a Zolith shadow crawler. It was an ambush predator with adaptive camouflage that made it nearly invisible. Its fangs carried venom that could kill most species in seconds. Dr. Hana tried to prepare Dehan, but how could she explain an invisible threat? All she could do was speak to him softly. Trust your instincts. You were made for this even if you don't know it. The shadow crawler was released into the arena first. It immediately vanished from sight. The cameras could barely track it. It began stalking Dehan, moving silently through the terrain. Dehan entered the arena. He seemed more cautious this time. The first battle had changed him slightly. He knew this place was dangerous. He moved to a water source and drank. Then he found some vegetation and ate. Hours passed. The crowd grew restless. "Why doesn't it attack?" someone asked. "It's trying to exhaust the prey first," an expert explained. "Make it waste energy moving around, then strike when it's weak." But Dehan wasn't wasting energy. He was resting. He found a spot with good visibility and simply sat down. His eyes moved constantly, scanning the environment. He was patient. More hours passed. The shadow crawler grew frustrated. Its hunting strategy required the prey to move, to give openings. But Dehan just sat and watched. Finally, after 6 hours, the shadow crawler decided to strike. It moved in from behind, completely silent, completely invisible. Its fangs were extended, dripping with venom. At 3 meters away, it prepared to leap. Dehan's head snapped around. His eyes locked onto something the cameras couldn't see clearly. Later, experts would study this moment for months. They would discover that Dehan had seen the slight shimmer of displaced air. His eyes, evolved to spot predators in dense jungle, caught what technology missed. The shadow crawler leaped. Dehan's arm came up and caught it mid-flight. His hand closed around its body like a vice. The creature tried to bite him and its fangs sank into his arm. Venom pumped into his bloodstream. Dehan roared in pain, but he didn't let go. His other hand grabbed the creature's head. Then, with brutal efficiency, he pulled. The shadow crawler's body came apart. Dehan threw the pieces away and staggered backward. The venom was working. His arm swelled. He fell to one knee. Medical sensors showed his blood pressure spiking as his immune system fought the toxin. "He's dying," someone in the observation room said. But Dr. Hana shook her head. "Earth life doesn't die easily. Watch." Dehan's breathing was labored. He made it to the water source and drank heavily, flushing his system. Then he simply lay down in a shaded area and closed his eyes. His body was fighting the venom with an immune system that had evolved on a world full of dangerous organisms. 6 hours later, he stood up. The swelling in his arm had gone down. He was alive. The galaxy stopped laughing. 3 days after that, the third battle happened. This time a Girex acid spitter was sent. It was 6 meters long, serpentine, and could spit acid that melted starship hulls. The battle was brutal. Dehan took burns on his shoulder learning the threat. Then he started throwing rocks. His aim was perfect, each throw calculated to make the Girex waste its acid. When the creature was exhausted, Dehan closed in and finished it. 3 battles, 3 victories, each one more impossible than the last. Ambassador Jiwan watched from Earth and knew everything had changed. They're not scared of losing anymore. By the 4th battle, everything had changed. News networks across the galaxy were no longer mocking humanity. Instead, they were asking questions. Dangerous questions. A journalist named Yuri Kim, a human woman working for the Galactic Broadcasting Network, stood before cameras on Earth. Behind her, crowds had gathered to watch Dehan's battles on massive public screens. 3 battles, she said to the camera. 3 victories. And the galaxy is starting to understand what they're really watching. They're not watching humanity's champion. They're watching Earth's child. Her broadcast went viral across hundreds of worlds. Other species began researching Earth's evolutionary history. What they found disturbed them deeply. The fourth battle was against a crystalline creature called a shard stalker. It came from a world of silicon-based life. Its body was harder than diamond, nearly impossible to damage with physical force. It moved by vibrating its crystalline structure, creating sound waves that could shatter bone. When it entered the arena, it looked like a walking statue made of sharp, glittering edges. Each movement made a sound like breaking glass. Dahan watched it carefully. He had learned to observe before acting. The shard stalker attacked with its sonic weapons. The sound waves hit Dahan and he stumbled, clearly in pain. His ears were sensitive, and this attack hurt him badly. He retreated, putting distance between himself and the creature. Lieutenant Sung-ho watched from the observation room. It found his weakness. Sound-based attacks. He can't defend against that. But Dr. Hana noticed something. Look at where he's moving. Dahan was backing toward the rocky terrain. Not randomly, but deliberately. When the Shardstalker followed, confident in its advantage, Dahan suddenly charged. But he didn't attack the creature directly. Instead, he grabbed it with both hands and ran forward, building momentum. Then he slammed the Shardstalker against a solid rock wall with all his strength. The crystalline body shattered like glass. Pieces exploded outward. The creature's unique biology, which made it nearly indestructible against most attacks, made it vulnerable to sudden, extreme force against a hard surface. Dahan stood there, breathing hard, covered in small cuts from the crystal shards. He looked at his hands, then at the broken pieces of his opponent. Something in his eyes had changed. He was learning, not just how to fight, but that he could win. The fifth battle was 3 days later. The Vryn sent a Void Hunter, a creature from a dark moon with no atmosphere. It could survive in space itself. Its primary weapon was psychic. It attacked the mind directly, paralyzing prey with fear and pain. When the battle began, Dahan collapsed almost immediately. The psychic assault hit him like a physical blow. He lay on the ground, his body twitching. The Void Hunter approached slowly, savoring its victory. But then something strange happened. Dahan's movements slowed, then stopped, but his eyes stayed open. His breathing continued. Deep in his simpler brain, something was resisting. Dr. Hana leaned closer to her monitor. "It's neural structure," she whispered. "It's different from humans, simpler in some ways but more resilient. The psychic attack is working, but not completely." Dahan's hand moved, just slightly. Then his arm. He was pushing through the mental assault through pure willpower and a brain structure that the Void Hunter had never encountered before. Slowly, impossibly, Dahan stood up. Each movement looked like it took enormous effort. The Void Hunter intensified its attack, confused by this resistance. Its species had never failed before. Dahan took one step forward, then another. His face showed pain but also determination. Something in him refused to stop. Perhaps it was instinct. Perhaps it was the 4 billion years of life on Earth that had programmed into his DNA one simple message: survive. When he reached the Void Hunter, his hands closed around it. The creature tried to flee, but it was too late. Dahan's strength, even weakened by the psychic assault, was more than enough. The fifth victory stunned the galaxy into silence. Ambassador Tholvar called an emergency meeting with the remaining 7 Vryn worlds. The meeting was supposed to be private, but portions of it leaked to the media. What people heard was fear in Tholvar's voice. "We cannot lose this challenge," he told his allies. "If this animal defeats all 12 predators, we will become a joke. The other species will question everything about us. Then we must change our approach," another Vryn ambassador suggested. "The rules say we must send predators, but they do not say those predators must be natural." Tholvar's eyes narrowed. "You mean we enhance them, modify them? We have 6 battles remaining. We make sure at least one of them kills this creature." It was a violation of the spirit of the challenge, though technically allowed by the ancient laws. But the Vryn were desperate now. Their pride was crumbling with each battle. Meanwhile, research teams from dozens of worlds were studying Earth. What they discovered was shocking. A scientific report went public 3 days before the 6th battle. The report's summary was simple and terrifying. Earth is not just a death world. It is potentially the most hostile planet in the known galaxy that still supports complex life. Its gravity is 20% higher than the galactic average. Its weather patterns are extreme and unpredictable. Its microbial life is aggressive and diverse. Most significantly, its evolutionary history shows mass extinctions every few million years. Species on Earth must constantly adapt or die. This creates a level of natural selection pressure that is unprecedented in our experience. The report continued. Humans evolved as persistence predators. They chase prey for hours or days until it collapses from exhaustion. This is possible because of Earth's extreme conditions. Humans can regulate their temperature through sweating, allowing them to run in heat that would kill most species. They can survive on almost any diet. They heal from injuries that would be fatal to species from gentler worlds. And the creature they sent, a gorilla, is not even their apex predator. It is classified as a peaceful herbivore. The report's conclusion was stark. If this is what Earth creates naturally, we must reconsider humanity's potential threat level. They are not advanced because of technology alone. They are advanced because their world forced them to become survivors above all else. The sixth battle proved the report correct. The Vryn sent 3 creatures at once, breaking their own rules about single combat. They were pack hunters from a world of eternal twilight, coordinated and intelligent. Dehan faced them calmly. By now he had learned the rhythm of these battles. Wait, observe, survive. The pack tried to surround him, using their numerical advantage. But Dehan understood pack tactics. He had lived in a troop his whole life. He knew about group dynamics and social hierarchy. He kept moving, preventing them from surrounding him fully. Then he targeted the boldest one, the leader. When he killed it quickly and brutally, the other 2 hesitated. That moment of hesitation was all he needed. He eliminated them one by one, using the same intelligence that had allowed gorillas to survive in Earth's jungles for millions of years. 6 battles. 6 victories. The 7th battle was against a Thex behemoth, a creature with armor plating that could withstand plasma weapons. It was massive, 3 times Dehan's weight, with strength to match. The 2 creatures met in the center of the arena. For the first time, Dehan seemed to face something that matched him physically. They grappled, testing each other's strength. The behemoth was powerful but slow. Dehan was faster, more agile. He spent an hour learning the behemoth's movements. Where were the joints? Where were the weak points? His intelligence was clear to everyone watching. He wasn't just fighting on instinct anymore. He was thinking, planning, adapting. Finally, he found what he was looking for. The joints where the armor plates met. He targeted them systematically, tearing ligaments and breaking bones beneath the armor. When the behemoth finally fell, it was not from a lucky strike. It was from systematic, intelligent dismantling. Dr. Hana watched Dehan after the battle. He sat alone in his holding area, not eating, not sleeping, just staring at his hands. He's changing, she told Commander Taemin. Every battle takes something from him. He was peaceful before this. Now look at him. He's surviving, Taemin said quietly. That's all that matters, is it? Dr. Hana asked. We're destroying who he is to prove a point. Is that worth it? Taemin had no answer. Across the galaxy, the Vryn's last 5 worlds prepared their champions. But they were no longer confident. They were terrified, because they finally understood what humanity had been trying to show them. Earth didn't produce the strongest creatures. Earth didn't produce the fastest or the smartest or the most dangerous. Earth produced survivors, and once you created something that refused to die, that adapted to any threat, that pushed through any pain, you created something that could survive anywhere, even among the stars. The message was spreading through the galaxy like wildfire. Earth wasn't just humanity's home. It was a forge that created life harder than anything the galaxy had ever seen. And humans were Earth's ultimate creation, even more adapted for survival than the gorilla fighting in the arena. 7 battles done. 5 to go. And the galaxy was no longer watching to see humanity fail. They were watching to see just how far Earth's children could go. Ambassador Ji-Wan received a private message from a coalition of peaceful species. It was simple. The 8th battle changed everything. The Vryn had decided that honor was less important than winning. They sent a war construct, a creature that was barely alive anymore. It had been taken from its homeworld as an infant and modified. Cybernetic implants covered half its body. Weapons were grafted into its flesh. Its brain had been altered to remove fear and increase aggression. When Dr. Hana saw the creature enter the arena, she stood up from her monitoring station. "This is illegal," she said firmly. "The challenge specified natural predators. That thing is a weapon." Lieutenant Sung Ho was already checking the rules. The exact wording says apex predator from the world. Technically, it was born on their world. They're using a loophole. Commander Taemin felt sick. "Can we challenge this?" "We can," Ambassador Ji-won said over the communication link. "But it will take days to get a ruling from the Assembly, and by then the battle will already have happened." "They're counting on that," Taemin said bitterly. "They know we can't stop it in time." The war construct was larger than Daehan and faster. When the battle began, it moved with mechanical precision. Its first attack was a blade that extended from its arm. The blade cut deep into Daehan's shoulder before he could dodge. Daehan roared in pain and retreated. Blood ran down his arm. The war construct followed, relentless. It had no fear, no hesitation. It was programmed to kill, and that's all it did. For the first time since the challenges began, Daehan looked like he might lose. He was taking damage faster than he could heal. The war construct's weapons were too advanced, too precise. Each strike cut deeper. Dr. Hana watched with tears in her eyes. "Stop the battle," she demanded. "He's going to die." "We can't," Taemin said quietly. "The rules don't allow it. Once a battle starts, it continues until one fighter can't continue." Daehan fell to one knee. The war construct raised its blade for a killing strike. Across the galaxy, billions watched what they thought would be the end. But then something happened. Daehan looked up at his opponent. In his eyes, there was no longer confusion or fear. There was something else, something that every creature from Earth carried deep inside. Rage. When the blade came down, Daehan moved, not away but forward. He took the blade through his side, but it allowed him to grab the war construct's arm. His massive hand closed around the cybernetic limb and he twisted. Metal screamed. The arm tore free from the war construct's body. Daehan threw it away and grabbed the creature's head with both hands. What happened next was brutal. Daehan didn't stop until the war construct was motionless. When it was over, he collapsed beside it, barely breathing. Medical teams rushed in. Dr. Hana ran to him, her professional distance finally breaking. "Hold on, Daehan," she whispered in Korean. "Please hold on." They worked on him for 3 hours. He had lost a lot of blood. His injuries were severe, but his body, forged by Earth's demands, refused to give up. Slowly, impossibly, he stabilized. The galaxy's reaction was fierce. The peaceful species filed formal complaints about the war construct. Even some of the Vrin's allies questioned the tactic. Protests erupted on dozens of worlds, but the Vrin didn't care. They had 4 battles left, and they were going to win no matter what it took. 3 days later, barely recovered, Daehan faced the 9th challenge. The Vrin sent a nerve burner, a creature designed specifically to counter Daehan's abilities. It emitted electromagnetic pulses that caused extreme pain to nervous systems. When the battle started, Daehan collapsed immediately. The pain was unlike anything he had experienced. It felt like fire in every nerve. He couldn't think, couldn't move. He just screamed. The observers watched in horror. Lieutenant Sung Ho turned away. "This is torture. They're torturing him." But Dr. Hana kept watching. She had studied Earth life for her entire career. She knew something the Vrin didn't. "Earth has pain for a reason," she said quietly. "It teaches survival, and Earth's creatures learn to push through it." Daehan's screaming changed. It became deeper, more controlled. His body was adapting, his brain learning to function even through the assault. Centimeter by centimeter, he began to crawl forward. The nerve burner increased its power, confused. Its weapon had never failed before. But Daehan kept crawling. Each movement looked like it took all his strength, but he didn't stop. When he finally reached the creature, he didn't have the energy for a prolonged fight. He simply fell on it, using his weight to pin it, and then used the last of his strength to end it quickly. He lay there afterward, unable to move. The medical teams came again. His neural pathways were damaged. His body was in shock. But once again, he survived. The 10th battle was worse. The Vrin sent a swarm. Thousands of small flying creatures, each carrying paralytic toxins. Individually, they were weak. Together, they were overwhelming. Daehan entered the arena already exhausted from the previous battles. When the swarm attacked, covering him completely, many thought it was finally over. How could anyone survive thousands of stings? But Dahan remembered the water. He ran to the arena's lake and dove under. The swarm followed, but underwater they were helpless. Dahan stayed under for minutes, only surfacing briefly for air before diving again. Each time he surfaced, he grabbed handfuls of the creatures and crushed them. It took hours, but eventually the swarm was defeated. Dahan crawled out of the water covered in stings, swollen and poisoned, but alive. Dr. Hana ran scans on him that night. His immune system is incredible, she told the others. He's been poisoned 3 times now. Each time his body adapts faster. Earth life doesn't just survive toxins, it learns from them. But she could also see the psychological damage. Dahan wasn't sleeping. He wasn't playing or showing any of his normal behaviors. He just sat and stared. The battles were breaking his mind even as his body continued to endure. 2 more battles, Commander Taman said. Can he survive 2 more? I don't know, Dr. Hana admitted. Physically, maybe. But mentally, we're destroying him. The Dahan who goes back to Earth won't be the same one we sent. The 11th battle was the longest. The Vryn sent a Titan-class predator, 3 times Dahan's mass. It came from a high-gravity world and was built like a living tank. Its hide was thick enough to stop most weapons. Its strength was immense. The battle lasted 6 hours. Not because Dahan was evenly matched, but because he was too weak to finish it quickly. He was running on nothing but willpower now. His body was covered in scars and wounds from previous battles. He should have been in a hospital not fighting for his life. But he fought anyway. He couldn't overpower the Titan class. He couldn't hurt it with normal attacks. So he used strategy. He led it around the arena, making it waste energy. He attacked only when opportunity presented itself. He used every piece of terrain to his advantage. The Titan class was powerful but stupid. It had never needed to think because nothing had ever survived long enough to require strategy. But Dahan made it chase him, made it tired, made it careless. Finally, after 6 hours, the Titan class made a mistake. It charged at Dahan near a cliff edge in the arena terrain. Dahan dodged at the last second. The creature couldn't stop its momentum and fell over the edge, breaking its legs in the fall. Dahan stood at the top, swaying on his feet. Then he collapsed. The medical teams found him barely breathing. His heart rate was dangerously low. His body temperature had dropped. He had pushed beyond what should have been possible. He's dying, one of the doctors said. No, Dr. Hana said firmly. He's resting, watch. Over the next 12 hours, Dahan's vitals slowly improved. His body, trained by millions of years of evolution to survive impossible situations, pulled him back from the edge of death once again. When he woke up, 24 hours before the final battle, his eyes found Dr. Hana through the observation window. She pressed her hand against the glass. "One more," she said in Korean. "Just one more and it's over. I promise." Dahan made a sound. It wasn't aggressive or fearful. It was simply tired. So very tired. Across the galaxy, the narrative had completely changed. The peaceful species were calling for the challenge to be stopped. Even some warrior species said it had gone too far. Protests surrounded the Vryn embassies on every world, but the Vryn refused to stop. They had 1 battle left and they had saved their worst for last. Ambassador Tholvar appeared on galactic broadcasts. The final battle will proceed. We have followed the rules. Humanity accepted this challenge freely. Now they must see it through. Commander Taman met with his team one last time. Whatever happens tomorrow, Dahan has already proven everything we needed to prove. The galaxy knows what Earth creates now. They'll never underestimate us again. That's not enough, Dr. Hana said angrily. We asked him to do this. We took him from his home and made him fight for our pride. And now he might die for it. I know, Taman said quietly. And I'll carry that guilt for the rest of my life. But we can't stop it now. All we can do is hope he survives one more time. The galaxy waited. One more battle. One more test of Earth's resilience. And one creature, broken and exhausted, who had become a symbol of something much larger than himself. The final battle was scheduled for dawn, Galactic Standard Time. Billions would watch. History would remember. And Dahan, who had just wanted to live peacefully in his forest home, would face the worst monster the galaxy could create. The final predator was called the Executioner. Even its name was meant to intimidate. The Vryn had spent weeks creating it, pulling DNA from all 11 previous predators and combining them into one ultimate weapon. They added cybernetic enhancements, neural programming, and combat training. This wasn't a natural creature anymore. It was designed with one purpose, to kill Dahan. Dr. Hana reviewed the data on the executioner and felt her hands shaking. "This is murder," she said to Commander Taemin. "They built this thing specifically to kill him. It has the acid of the Gearex, the quills of the Spike Wolf, the psychic attacks of the Void Hunter. Everything that hurt him before, combined into one creature. The Assembly is reviewing an emergency challenge to the legality," Taemin said, but his voice was hollow. They both knew the review would take days. The battle was scheduled for 2 hours from now. Ambassador Jiwan had been working through the night, calling in every favor, speaking to every ally humanity had made. But the Vryn had political power too. The vote to stop the battle was close, but not close enough. In his holding area, Dahan sat quietly. He looked terrible. His fur was patchy where wounds had healed. His eyes were tired. He had lost weight. The medical scans showed damage throughout his body. Broken bones that had healed poorly. Internal injuries that never fully recovered. Psychological trauma that no medicine could fix. Dr. Hana went to speak to him one last time. The rules said she could only use audio, but she didn't care anymore. She pressed herself against the transparent barrier and Dahan came to meet her. He pressed his hand against the barrier where hers was. "I'm so sorry," she said in Korean, tears running down her face. "I thought this would prove something important. I thought it would show them who we are. But all we did was hurt you. All we did was take away your peace." Dahan looked at her with his dark eyes. He made a soft sound, the kind he used to make when playing with the young gorillas back home. Even after everything, some part of him was trying to comfort her. "You don't have to go out there," she said. "You can refuse. You can just sit down and not move. They can't make you fight. I'll take you home, I promise. We'll face whatever consequences come, but I'll get you home." But when the arena doors opened, Dahan stood up, not because he wanted to fight, not because he understood politics or honor or challenges, but because for 11 battles he had learned one thing. When those doors opened, he had to go through them to survive. His instincts told him that stopping now meant death. He walked into the arena slowly. Every step looked painful. The crowd watching across the galaxy had gone silent. This didn't feel like a battle anymore. It felt like an execution. At the far end, the executioner entered. It was massive, larger than any previous predator. Its body was a nightmare combination of parts that shouldn't exist together. Scales and fur and metal, claws and blades and weapons. Its eyes glowed with artificial intelligence and predatory hunger. The two creatures stood facing each other across the arena. For a moment, neither moved. Then the executioner attacked. It was fast, faster than anything Dahan had faced. Its first strike hit him with acid burning his chest. Before he could recover, quills fired into his legs. He fell to one knee. The psychic attack came next. The same pain that had paralyzed him before. Dahan collapsed completely. He lay on the ground, unable to move, unable to think through the pain. The executioner approached slowly, confident. It had been told what to do. Eliminate the target. Show no mercy. Across the galaxy, people turned away from their screens. They couldn't watch. On Earth and Korea, people wept openly in the streets. Dr. Hana buried her face in her hands. Lieutenant Sung-ho stood frozen. Commander Taemin closed his eyes. The executioner stood over Dahan's body. It raised one clawed arm for the killing blow. Victory was certain. The challenge would be over. The Vryn would win. But then Dahan's finger moved. Just one finger. Barely noticeable, but it moved. Then his hand. Then his arm. Slowly, impossibly, he began to push himself up. The psychic attack was still active. The acid was still burning. The quills were still embedded in his flesh. By every logical measure, he should be dead. But Earth doesn't teach logic. Earth teaches one thing above all, survive. Dahan's eyes opened. They were filled with pain, but also something deeper. Something that the executioner, for all its intelligence and programming, could never understand. It was the refusal to accept death. It was 4 billion years of evolution screaming through his DNA that life continues, that life endures, that life never surrenders. The executioner, confused by its prey's movement, struck again. Dahan took the hit, and another, and another. Each blow should have been fatal. Each blow should have ended it. But Dahan kept moving. He crawled forward. Not with strength, because he had none left. Not with speed because his body was broken, but with pure absolute determination. Each centimeter was a victory against death itself. The executioner began to back away. Its programming told it this was impossible. Its prey should be dead. Why wasn't it dead? For the first time, something like fear entered its artificial mind. Dahan reached the creature. His hand closed around its leg. The executioner tried to pull away, but that grip, even weakened by injury, wouldn't release. Because Earth had taught that grip. Millions of years of hanging from branches, of holding on through storms, of never letting go no matter what. Dahan's other hand reached up, found the executioner's throat, and held on. The battle lasted 13 minutes from that moment. Not because Dahan was strong enough to win quickly, but because he refused to let go. The executioner threw him, stabbed him, burned him, attacked his mind. Nothing worked. When it was finally over, both creatures lay motionless on the arena floor. The medical teams rushed in. Dr. Hana was first to reach Dahan. "Check his vitals," she screamed. The scanners moved over his body. For several horrible seconds there was nothing. Then a heartbeat, faint but there. "He's alive," someone said in disbelief. "He's still alive. The executioner was dead." Dahan had won, but no one was celebrating. They were too shocked by what they had witnessed. Across the galaxy, in observation rooms and homes and public spaces, beings sat in stunned silence. They had watched something that shouldn't have been possible. The assembly convened immediately. The evidence of the Vrin's violations was overwhelming. The enhanced predators, the war construct, the executioner, all of it broke the spirit of the challenge. The Vrin Collective was formally censured. Their voting rights were suspended for a century. Ambassador Tholvar was removed from his position in disgrace. But none of that mattered to Dr. Hana. She stayed with Dahan as they transported him to the medical station. His injuries were catastrophic. The doctors said he would survive, but he would never be the same. 3 months later, Dahan returned to Earth. They had built him a special sanctuary far from cities, far from people. A place where he could live in peace. Dr. Hana visited every week. He recognized her. He would come when she called. But the playfulness was gone. The gentle curiosity was gone. He spent most of his time sitting alone, staring into the distance. Sometimes at night he would make sounds of distress, reliving the battles in his mind. "We broke him," Dr. Hana said to Commander Taemin during one visit. "We asked him to save us, and we broke him." "I know," Taemin said quietly. The cost was too high, but the impact on the galaxy was undeniable. Research teams came to Earth by the hundreds. They studied everything, the animals, the plants, the bacteria, the entire ecosystem. They studied human history and evolution. They analyzed the atmosphere, the gravity, the weather patterns. Their reports all said the same thing. Earth was a death world of the highest order. Life there didn't just survive. It thrived through constant pressure, constant challenge, constant change. Everything from Earth carried that legacy. The ability to adapt, the refusal to surrender. The absolute determination to survive. Humanity's reputation changed overnight. They were no longer seen as newcomers or weaklings. They were seen as survivors from a world that would destroy most species. When humans spoke in the assembly, others listened. New treaties were signed. Trade agreements flourished. Several species requested mutual defense pacts with humanity. The phrase, "they're from Earth," became a shorthand explanation for whenever humans did something that seemed impossible. 5 years after the challenge, Dahan died peacefully in his sleep. The news reached every world in the galaxy. The assembly declared a day of remembrance. Statues were built on hundreds of planets, not of a warrior or a monster, but of a peaceful gorilla sitting among trees. Ambassador Ji-Wan gave a speech at the memorial ceremony on Earth. Thousands attended in person. Billions watched across the galaxy. Dahan didn't want to be a hero, she said. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to prove anything. He just wanted to live peacefully in his forest. But Earth made him strong. Earth made him resilient. Earth made him capable of surviving things that should have killed him. And when we asked him to represent us, to show the galaxy what Earth creates, he did. Not because he understood the politics, but because survival was coded into every cell of his body. She paused, looking at the statue they were unveiling. It showed Dahan sitting peacefully, one hand raised as if in greeting. The Vrin wanted to prove we were weak. Instead, they showed the galaxy,